It's it's kind of, we touched on it a little bit, that whole what makes us different. You know, we're so focused on, oh well, we have consciousness, we have you know, we have the ability to make tools, we have the ability to have empathy, you know, all of these different things, hence the differential imperative. But for some reason, like, we have this compulsion to like separate ourselves, you know, which actually, you know, goes into, I found there was a question she posed in the book was, are women human?
Yeah.
And she says, like, you may laugh, but there was actually a point in time where women, their humanness was in question, you know, and that, you know, the fact that we think that everything is.
So how does she define the, what did you call it? The difference?
The differential imperative.
The differential imperative.
If human exceptionalism is a product of the dominant culture, not something intrinsic to human nature, then how did this worldview come about and ultimately gain such a powerful grip on the public imagination? From Aristotle to the Bible, from the Enlightenment to Marx, the idea of human as a superior animal or a being that is different from an animal altogether permeates Western thought. There has been no shortage of qualities put forward to justify this claim: rationality, language, tool use, culture, innovation, morality, and consciousness. The list goes on, as we've tried to continuously distinguish ourselves from the animal kind. Political scientist John Rodman called this the differential imperative because it resembles our almost compulsive need to identify the differences between us and other species that confirm our supposed superiority.
Okay, so she got it from a political scientist.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So, but you can kind of see it in the like everything, you know, are women human? Are they, I guess it's like when the scientists that are studying all this stuff, that where she goes through like, okay, animal, or we have consciousness and animals don't. Now, there have been studies where they've done different studies where they found, oh, well, they do have a consciousness, ability to reason. And then they found, well, they actually do have the ability to reason. Oh, tool use. You said the crows use tools, chimpanzees and other, you know, apes and monkeys and a lot of different animals, even octopuses she mentions, you know, elephants, you know, all these various different animals use tools. You know, and it's like the more it's like basically, like you said a second ago, the more they make these differences, the more, or as the book goes on, I should say, the more she chops down all of these differences.
Right. And if you go to the back of the book, there are references, right?
Right.
You want to, this study, like one of the things that I thought was fascinating, because this was one of the things that when I was a young man, newly out of the Army, sitting around, you know, drinking and getting high and just whatever, we would have these weird conversations that young people will when they're all effed up. And one of the things was about, well, what would the world look like if you took the visual, like what the frequency of light that we can see, and you just took the high end of it, and you just like flipped it and said, okay, that's the lowest frequency, and how would the world look different? And we would, you know, you'd have no way of knowing. You just laugh about it, and you know, and that. But then I'm reading in that book when and I think maybe it's birds, but like in the human eye, we have rods and cones, and we can see certain. But then there's like certain creatures that have like 12 different receptors in their eyes.
Yeah,
and so then, obviously, our visual acuity is not the best, right? Which, again, as far as like what makes humans so great and awesome. Right. But then I thought, what would the world look like if you had that kind of color perception?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I think it's just important for me, and I don't know how to communicate it to the world at large. Like, if you can just stop for a minute and back up and just allow yourself to imagine, well, what would the world be like? And could, you know, and now the other thing that it stands out for me, and it jumped out for me because of my issues like that came up when I was trying to deal with AI.
Yeah.
Right. And all the issues that come up with that, which we'll be talking about, as this develops.